Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Jody Fisher, and my intent today is to give you some basic knowledge and insight on how to have a successful aircraft recovery operation as a CDAR team chief. Before I begin, I would like to answer two questions. The first question is, what is CDAR? And the second question is, what is a team chief? Well, CDAR is an acronym used for Crash, Damaged, and Disabled Aircraft Recovery in the military and the civilian arena. The second question is, what is a team chief? Well, a team chief is the head person in charge of a recovery operation that's thoroughly versed in CDAR knowledge, capabilities, equipment, and methods. That person, he or she, makes all decisions in the recovery process from start to finish. So with that said, I'd like to give you what you need to have a successful team chief, to be a successful team chief in the CDAR arena. First point you need to have basic and advanced training on aircraft recovery procedures, techniques, and equipment as a CDAR team chief. A team chief must have an operating instruction that will incorporate procedures, agencies involved, and levels of responsibility in a crash operation. Third thing, you need to have enough equipment to cover at least 3 basic recovery scenarios. Now, with equipment, you need to make sure that you have sufficient personnel to be able to use that equipment, and you have to have all these team members that are on your team, they have to be fully trained to support recovery operations with that equipment. 5, you need to make sure you have a training plan of instruction on all aspects of crash recovery. This is very important. Now, not only with having a plan of instruction and having this equipment, but you need to be able to take your team and that equipment and you need to conduct what's called training exercises. You have to do this annually. With these exercises, you should have some type of classroom training, you should have some type of hands-on training on the equipment, and you also need to be able to do what's called tabletop exercises with agencies, the team members, and all that involved, and throw out scenarios so you can basically go over these scenarios and everybody has at least an idea of what goes on with different types of crashes. This is really important that you do that with your team. Going back to equipment, you need to make sure that your equipment's clean, it's inspected, and it's serviceable. You need to make sure that you inspect your equipment annually. You need to make sure you inspect your equipment after use, and you need to inspect your equipment prior to use too. Now, if you really want to be a good team chief, you need to make sure that you're familiar with aircraft technical manuals, and you need to make sure that you're familiar with your operating instructions. And you have to have access to both. Also, the team chief needs to create what's called a continuity program or continuity binder. In that binder, you're going to have all your things that organizes yourself as a team chief, and somebody else can come in and step in and take your place if you're not there. Now, I'll go back to the operating instruction. As a good team chief, you need to make sure that you take care of your operating instruction. You need to know the ins and outs of your operating instruction. And basically what the operating instruction will do, it's going to give you a step-by-step procedure when a crash happens from start to finish, all the way to the end, and you need to make sure that you're familiar with that. Once on your crash site, okay, once you get there as a team chief, you're required to do what's basically called an initial assessment. This initial assessment is you and a couple of guys in your team, maybe a fire chief, something like that. You have to find out what's going on with this crash, what you have, what type of equipment you're going to use. So basically you're kind of coming up with a mental plan of what you have on the crash site and what you're able to do. So after you do this initial assessment, you need to come up with a recovery plan. How are you going to recover this aircraft and get it off the site? Your plan needs to have a backup plan. You also have to do safety briefings and stuff like that. So safety is a big factor in crash recovery. One of the other points I want to go to is, with your plan, you need to make sure that you have the type of equipment you're going to use for this crash recovery. You're going to have to come up with all the members that's going to be on the team and where they're going to be located once the operation starts and during the operation. Now, once the plan's given, this is really, really key. All the members of the team, they need to make sure that they know what their part of the team is and where they're going to be located on the recovery site. So you need to make sure everybody's briefed with it, with the plan, and they need to make sure that they're familiar with the whole operation. Now finally, you need to make sure that safety and communication, these two things are important, and you need to be able to use what's called situational awareness and risk management in your recovery operation. And in conclusion, I believe if you follow some of these basic points that I've covered, you'll be a successful team chief, and you'll be able to meet requirements to open a runway and become operational again. You'll be able to prevent secondary damage on aircraft, and you need to be able to, and you will do, where you'll have preservation of evidence for a mishap or an accident investigation. And last but not least, you'll have a great CDAR program. Thank you.